Hello everyone, welcome to the very delayed episode 6 of Checkpoint Chat. I have to apologize for delaying it a whole week. I was extremely sick and Matty was very angry with me. He sent me scolding WhatsApp messages the entire time. He's like, get better.
And now
Can't
I'm
let this
sick.
podcast drop off. He's sick.
Now I'm sick. So see, you've spread the plague to me and I'm right here to bring it back to you. So hello. Thanks for giving me your illness. Jeez, like.
Yeah, please. At least you don't have like a sore throat. You're just all slightly like congested.
I'm just congested. So I'm sure if you guys can hear, I sound very nasally and I apologize, but there's literally nothing I can do about that. Just hope that this goes away shortly.
That's fine. We forgive you, Matty. It's okay that you're a little bit nasally.
Although I dragged myself to the podcast despite... I actually couldn't miss it. We've already gave you the free pass.
Oh yeah, no.
The show must go on.
We can't have a whole another delayed week. That really suck.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is episode 6.
We made it.
We made it. Jeez, yeah. I mean, it was touch and go there for a while.
Yo,
like shit.
Podcast nearly fell apart.
Yeah, I may have to cancel the podcast. Who knows what happens? It's scary stuff.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually sent out a work email. Like finally telling everyone at the office that I've started a podcast.
Oh yeah.
And then I had a few people this week saying like, how's the podcast going? Like, well, we missed recording last week because, reasons, but we are back. So it's good to be back.
Hooray.
It's good to see you.
It also means we have like 2 weeks worth of chatting to catch up on.
Jeez, like, so you're in for a 5-hour episode?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, really. I've got Lucozade here. I'm ready to go for 5 hours. I'm feeling energetic as opposed to yesterday where I was like, I thought I was coming down with like the second bout of the flu and I was very scared.
You're looking really healthy considering you supposedly nearly died.
Yesterday it was touch and go. I just spent the whole day on the couch just chilling out, like relaxing. Took the day off work because I was like, I cannot like go another week feeling sick. So it seems like a day off was exactly what I needed.
I need one of those. I need a whole 2 weeks off actually. Work's been very busy, super busy, and I was feeling sick from Wednesday, I suppose, and I just haven't had the time to recover. So let's record this, and then I'm gonna go home and just sleep.
So you didn't go for a run this morning?
No. Okay. I was tempted to, but then bed helped me.
And I haven't been running in so long. I feel like I don't even remember it.
You haven't run since the Great War of 1345, it feels like. It was a long time ago.
First 10K is going to sneak up on me and I'm just going to die.
I'll fall over and die.
Yeah. And I missed out the chance. It was the zoo run last weekend and it would have been my third in a row. So I would have got that medal, man.
What medal would you have chosen? What animal?
I don't know. I think I've got the lion or the bear.
Oh, so you do have one?
Yeah, I have one, yeah. Yeah. It's hard to get it 3 times in a row. 3 weeks in a row. So many things can go wrong.
3 times in a row over 3 months. It's always...
I remember the first time I started, I thought it was just the first 3. Like, if you've done 3, every 3, you get a medal. I didn't realize this.
No, they're strict.
Yeah, they're super strict. My God.
They see you've missed a whole month. They're just like, no, come back. Do it 3 months in a row.
Please try again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here we are.
I'm happy to be back. And I think, because it's only 2 of us, it makes it hard when one of us is unavailable because are you going to have a podcast of just you talking to yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think
what did you play, Matty? I played this, Matty.
I'll talk about third person. Why not? Yeah. What Matty didn't realize is that he was talking to himself the entire time. Yeah, but I think it's a good learning thing as well because I think next time this happens, we'll make a plan. Maybe it is a matter of recording a quick little 10-15 minute episode, just touching base or getting a guest on or something. But I don't know. It's a problem for future us. All right. Yeah, that's a future us problem that we kind of need to look at and solve. But we'll hopefully get to that a bit better next time. Yeah. Maybe we'll just get a third host. We'll just hire someone to come and take the sick person's place. We'll see. For a small fee of nothing.
Yeah. For a
budget's very tight.
Sponsorship from Green Apron.
Yeah, Green Apron.
Yes.
Yeah, if you don't know about Green Apron, they don't exist. But if they did, they would deliver amazing food.
Oh yeah, exactly. Green Apron could be the vegetarian variant of Blue Apron.
Pre-portioned ingredients, vegetables.
Yeah,
pre-cut.
Great home cooked meals. Man, Blue Apron, come sponsor us. Look how well we're doing.
We've got this thing in the bag, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Come pitch to us. We'll run the Green Apron South Africa.
So it's been 2 weeks. So what have you been playing in the meantime since then? I mean, I'm sure you said you've been busy, so I'm not expecting like, oh, I've got 5 games to talk about.
I played 10 games. What are you talking about?
You played 10 games?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, clearly you haven't been that busy.
I started, I don't have a life. I just play games forever. I've been playing The Last Guardian. Well,
yes.
When I say I've been playing The Last Guardian, I've played about 2, maybe 3 hours of it. Okay. Scattered over 2 sessions, I think.
Okay. How's it going? Because I know the start is very slow.
It is very slow and very frustrating. Okay, so just to tell you where I've left off, I've reached the point now where I can actually give Trico commands.
Oh, okay.
And I've played maybe 15 minutes after that, but even that is proving to be frustrating because you point at a wall, for example, and then he looks at you, and then he finally makes his way over to the wall, and then he leans up against the wrong wall, and it's just proving to be very frustrating to me. So I'm hoping it's like there are moments where I'm like, cool, like I understand this game, where there's just heartfelt moments, and you see that connection growing between you. Does the boy have a name? I don't even know if he has a name. I think he does say it, but it's like,
I've forgotten.
I just know
it's boy.
It's Boy and Trico.
Yeah.
And there are moments where I feel I'm like, cool, I'm seeing the connection developing here, but then they're so like sparse at the moment, and I'm hoping that, based on reviews, and I know you played it, you loved the game.
I reviewed it, and I found it a lot better than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
Maybe that's because it was the first like Team Eco game I played, so I was like, oh, this is really unique. But having played Shadow of the Colossus, I'm like, ooh, Shadow Colossus is definitely a better game.
Yeah. But I'll get you Shadow of the Colossus, and I know that also has similar control dilemmas. I think.
Yeah,
I think the team's just known for that. Yeah.
Like jump is on triangle or something.
Yeah, and it still is. But it's weird. I know I'm hoping there'll be a point where the game clicks for me. But getting there is proving to be very frustrating.
Because if you're just starting to give commands, you haven't really got into any real puzzles yet.
No, you start out, you get that little lightning shield, whatever, pretty early, but that's like basic puzzles. It's really like, I need to destroy this wall. I aim the light at it, and Trico destroys it. Or
you command him in that way.
Yeah,
that's right.
But sometimes the puzzles are very like you don't know what to do. But I suppose that's where the satisfaction comes from, where you finally like it's actually pretty obvious what you need to do to progress. Although that being said, there are times where I actually don't know where to go, and I just climb on Trico, and then he like climbs up to a ledge I didn't even know existed. I'm like, oh, well, I guess that's how you progress past this point. I don't want to say it's a bad game. I don't think it's a bad game. It's just proving to be very frustrating to get into, based on just the controls, and then Trico not acting the way you expect him to, and things not being too clear, and something just fell out of your tree out the window. I don't know what that was.
Maybe another dove. Rip dove.
What? But I'm going to give it more time. I will obviously finish it. I don't think it's a long game. It's like 7 to 10 hours.
It was longer than I thought it would be. I think it ends up being around like 8 to 10 hours.
Okay. So, it's a short enough game that I will definitely finish it. I'm not really one to not finish games. Well, I like to.
It gets a little frustrating because you can see the end.
Yeah.
And you're like, cool, this is the end. And then something happens. And it's just like, oh, fuck, I'm nowhere near the end.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and like at that point when I was reviewing it, I was like ready for it to end.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed it. Like, what are your thoughts on like Trico as a believable animal that kind of doesn't listen to? He's like a cat.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, I sit and I realize I'm like, oh well. This animal doesn't actually know me. Like, why would it listen? Well, why would he listen to me?
Okay.
And there are moments where, you get to a part where there's a big, like, puddle of water.
Yeah.
And he plays in it. And you're like, oh, that's so fucking cute,
Yeah, he's got some really good mannerisms.
I think as a creature, pretty believable. Although there are, like, there's just frustrating moments where I'm like, oh, it just takes away from the overall experience. But, in my opinion. As far as the animal goes, I think, very cool. I'm just hoping that I get a better bond with him, which I'm sure I will as the game goes on.
Yeah, I think as it starts opening up, and especially when the story starts like kind of moving in a way, you kind of get that attachment to Trico, and you feel for him, and it develops that bond pretty well eventually.
Yeah, no, there are glimmers of I suppose, hope, or I don't know. There are moments where you get up to a different ledge and you look around, you're like, oh, like shit, that far off place down there, I was actually there like an hour ago or whatever.
That's something
and
it does really well, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a very nice sense of scale and progression, like, wow, I made it from there to here through this maze or whatever it was. But yeah, look, I don't want to say I'm not enjoying it, but I'm not like, wow, this game's mind-blowing.
Yeah, you know? I definitely don't think it is anywhere near something like that. I appreciate how unique it is in a way, and like Trico is annoying because sometimes you'll be like, cool, I'm on you, I'm telling you to go in that direction, and he'll just flat out ignore you.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's cool and charming, you know, he's a real animal, but once you've been playing for 6 hours, you're like,
come on,
just please fucking go in that direction, please. Like, I'm done.
Asking,
I'm done. And maybe that's part of the charm, but as a game, like, I find that very off-putting and frustrating.
Yeah, it can be very frustrating. And then visually, the game, it has its moments of like, wow, that's really pretty, but the performance is just like,
it's garbage.
Awful. It really is so bad. Like, I'm not one to be like, you know, this has to be buttery smooth or whatever, but it's like at a point where I can't even believe the game runs like that sort of thing, where you like pan the camera and it's sub 30 FPS, it feels like regularly. Even in the closed off areas, it doesn't seem to be, and I'm playing on a normal PlayStation, so I don't know.
On PS Pro, it was pretty bad as well. I mean,
so it just feels like, I don't know if that's part of like a design choice, or just like poorly optimized or whatever it is. I mean, the lighting and everything, there are moments I'm like, sure, this is gorgeous, but then you like pan the camera around and I'm like, oh god, this is
no, but
really
I mean,
slow.
Even though it looks pretty good, like it's not on the level of other first party games, like say Horizon or something, which look fundamentally a lot better and still manage to run a lot better. So
it's actually sometimes I am genuinely gobsmacked. I'm like, I can't believe this game exists like in the state, in the sense that it just runs the way it does. Like you'd think there'd be a lot more polish. I don't know. I mean, it's
a Team Eco thing. It's weird. Like Shadow of the Colossus on the PS2 pushed boundaries in terms of like open world and its fur animation and physics and stuff like that. And that thing ran really badly on the PS2. But at the same time, when it came out on the PS2, it was like, wow, this is
that's what it looks like.
Like, Last Guardian's not like that.
But yeah, I don't get that from the Last Guardian. No, I'm like, cool, this game looks pretty, but it's not something where I'm like, shit, I understand why it's lagging, because it just looks so lifelike. It's really cool, this is a pretty game, but Jesus Christ, it runs horribly, like really badly.
Yeah, I heard it's really rough on the standard PS4, and even on the Pro, there were moments I was like, ooh, this is pretty bad. But yeah, I think what the detail on Trico is incredible.
Oh yeah.
Like
no, the fur that's really cool.
And the feathers and the way Boy holds onto them, like, oh, really, really.
I mean,
good.
even when you're outside when you're like running through tall grass, well, not tall grass, but there are moments where there's long blades of grass.
Yes, tall grass.
And then, there's the lighting and the shadows, and they're busy sort of blowing around in the wind, whatever. I'm like, cool. But yeah, it doesn't get me to be like, wow, I understand why it runs so slow. Which is like, god damn, I wish this ran a bit better. And even the inputs itself, when you're controlling the boy, it feels like clunky almost. But I suppose that again is a Team Eco thing where it's not like you like push left and there's almost like that little delay before he turns left sort of thing.
It feels like you almost like moving through molasses.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit slow, but yeah, look, I'm going to finish the game, but at the moment I'm not blown away by it by any means.
Okay. That's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, like, but maybe it is one of those games. It's like a fine wine. It gets better with time.
I do distinctly remember not enjoying the opening so much, and as the game builds and you kind of get a better chance to connect with Trico, it opens up a bit. But I also know, like, I look back at what I wrote about it then, and there's a lot that if I wrote it now, I would probably be less forgiving having played something like Shadow of the Colossus, because I know what Team Eco is capable of, and maybe just that first kind of introduction to them and their style of game, I was a bit entranced, and now, playing Shadow of the Colossus, I'm like, okay, you've had chances to do this and you've done better, like, why is The Last Guardian feel worse?
Like this, yeah.
So I'm eager for you to finish it, and I'm more eager for you to get to Shadow of the Colossus, because I think that is a wholeheartedly better game.
Yeah, so I got given both by you, and I thought I know this is biased and whatever, but from what I understand, The Last Guardian is the worst of the two games.
Well, there's a third game. Their very first game is called Eco.
Yes. Okay,
So
but
haven't played that.
Yeah, but out of those, I've only got those two, and I thought I shouldn't really start with Shadow of the Colossus because then I'll probably struggle to finish The Last Guardian. So that's the reason I started The Last Guardian first.
Yeah, probably a better decision. Yeah.
So I'll finish that, and I will at some point get to Shadow of the Colossus, which I'm dying to play because I've never played the PS2 version nor the PS3 version.
You're in for a treat.
I've heard really, really great things. So.
Yo, it's so good. And like, I also never played the PS2 version. Because I never owned a PS2, so I always saw it being played. And just the work that Blue Point? Yeah, Blue Point. Yeah, Blue Hole's PUBG. Yeah. Yeah, Blue Point.
Blue something. Blue Apron.
Blue Apron. Blue Point did a really, really good job with that remake. Like, it feels like a game that could have launched for the PS4 this year and felt, in place with it being an exclusive. So, yeah, I'm very excited for you to get to that.
Yeah, so I will finish The Last Guardian at some stage, but at the moment I'm like, yeah. Joe, what have you been playing?
God of War.
Tell us. I know that you've been playing God of War this week, and I've been dying to record because I just want to talk to you about it and hear your thoughts on it. Because, like, when it comes to gaming, I'm good in the sense that, if I really want a game, I'm very patient. I'll be like, I can't really afford it now. It's fine. I'll ignore the hype. I'll play it a year after the fact. I mean, look at me playing The Witcher now 3 years after the fact. I haven't even played Horizon Zero Dawn.
How dare you?
So I'm going to get to that. But when it comes to God of War, that's one game I'm like, I actually cannot wait.
Yeah.
I need to play it now because, I mean, I do love the franchise. Like, don't get me wrong. I know that the earlier games don't have really much going in terms of story and character development besides Kratos being a very angry person who just wants to kill everything.
Yeah, he's a god of war in every sense of the word.
But in terms of the actual the action gameplay and the visuals and everything, like, I love that franchise.
Yeah.
So you and I were both at E3 2016 when it was officially unveiled.
My God.
And maybe that's why I have such a special fondness, especially for this game, or excitement, because we were there when that choir was singing.
Yeah, they had the whole orchestra playing the
and then
soundtrack.
Then it sort of starts off with a voiceover, if I remember, and then out of the shadows Kratos walks out, and that whole room erupted. Like, I'm even getting goosebumps now just thinking about it.
It was crazy. It's
so, and then it's a weird thing because then I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to play this, and then I sort of forgot about it, and then now we're here where it's about to release. I'm like, oh my God, like, where did the last 2 years go?
Sony did a good job of like keeping a little bit quiet, about it, because it was like, we saw it revealed at E3 2016. Then last year, they showed a bit more at E3. But between then, very little. Yeah. Very, very little.
And it's, I'm really pleased that they weren't like, here's God of War. No, you're going to wait 5 years to play it. Not that every studio does it, but it does happen. It's like, here's a teaser. Here's a little snippet of gameplay. And like every year you get something a little bit extra and finally a release date. Whereas it hasn't even been 2 years since.
Yeah, it hasn't been 2 years since it's revealed. So yeah, very good. I mean, I expected it to come out end of last year, but just like Horizon Zero Dawn, I guess maybe Sony was like, hey, maybe this early, Q1, Q2 window actually works out a little bit better for us. So they went that route. That reveal, man, I think about that very often because it still stands as like one of my favorite memories from the E3s we've been to. Just because it was like, first Sony press conference I've ever attended, and then it was probably the best one I've attended yet since then. Just with that whole choir no, wait, that was my second one.
Yeah,
that was my second one. Sorry, I lie. Yeah, but just that whole choir and the room erupting, like physically erupting. I've gone back and watched the footage of there, but they cut out a lot of the audience noise. But man, it was crazy. It was so cool.
And I know it's such a dumb thing to remember, but we had attended Xbox and all of the other conferences before that. Yeah. And while we're there, we're tweeting about it, like, oh my God, like Xbox revealed this, Ubisoft revealed this. I'll never forget at the Sony conference, there was no Wi-Fi,
no signal,
nothing
at all,
and we were just dying to tweet like, oh my God, like God of War has like just been announced, and we couldn't.
Yeah, couldn't tweet a thing. I mean, in a way, it was kind of cool because
it was
then we
good.
could just watch the thing,
everything. Yeah. But that was just such a standout moment for me. And now the game's here. So tell me about it. What is
so
it
good.
like?
It's so you were saying that you were a big fan of the past God of War games, and to an extent, I was as well. I liked its mythology and I liked its lore. I was never a huge fan of its combat. I thought its combat was pretty. Like you'd hit things and they wouldn't really react to you. It was like a very basic hack and slash thing. So I was of two minds of the series.
Yeah.
I never played Ascension.
I missed that one as well.
I never felt the need to play Ascension. I played one of the PSP games, but I played the core series on the PlayStation 2, and I really enjoyed the third one. The whole opening where you kind of climbing on the Titans as they.
So my introduction into the series was actually God of War 3, where a friend was playing it on his PS3, and I actually was gobsmacked. I'm like, I can't believe this is what the PlayStation 3 is capable of, because just the sense of scale and everything happening on the screen, and it looks, I mean, I don't know what it'll look like today, but at the time you're like, wow, this is crisp and it runs beautifully, and
it's actually super fascinating going back to those games now, because I saw Digital Foundry do a whole breakdown of God of War and its tech, and in the video they kind of put it side by side. They put the new one side by side with God of War Ascension, which is the most recent one, and the jump is just insane.
Staggering.
Like you remember the previous God of War games looking good, and at the time they were, but we are on another level field at the moment.
But I mean, So going back to with God of War 3, I saw that. Then eventually they released remastered versions for the PS3, and so I never played God of War 3. A friend had it. I eventually got 1 and 2, and I played 1, I enjoyed it, but then I played 2. Did you play 2?
Yeah, played 2.
That opening scenario as well is like that sense of scale.
Yeah. But
I was playing it on PS3, and in my head, I'm like, how did they do this on the PlayStation 2?
2 is the one where you start in the city,
in the
right?
city, and you've got that huge something like that. That I don't know what it was. That massive creature, like literally the size of a tower.
I remember.
And I'm like, I don't know how they did that on the PlayStation 2. Like, I just couldn't wrap my head around. I'm like, these guys are just wizards with the tech. So I can only imagine with PS4 what they've done, and it makes sense what you say. The jump is just
it's insane. Like, so Sony Santa Monica, which coincidentally isn't even in Santa Monica.
And that's your fun tip for this episode.
Yeah. They've kind of been in a few like dire straits lately. They had to cancel a bunch of projects. No, that was Ready at Dawn. I was thinking of another game. But they've gone through years of like struggling essentially, and Sony is no stranger to completely shutting down studios that can't deliver games.
When did Ascension come out? Sorry,
Ascension came out PS3.
But that was like
near the end of the PS3.
Yeah, so like 5-6
years ago. They haven't been working on this God of War since then.
Okay.
They've been trying new things. They tried a new IP, didn't work out. So this God of War was kind of like, cool, let's go back to what we know and kind of reinvent the series. So for all intents and purposes, this God of War could be a new IP. The way it's completely different to the games prior. Like, they could have put another name on this and a new protagonist, and it could have been a completely different game. So having the attachment to God of War is kind of interesting, because they get to do really cool things with Kratos that previous games could never do. Like you said, Kratos in the previous games was pretty one note. He was just a god
angry
who liked destruction, very angry at the Greek gods, very angry at Zeus, stuff like that, but always just very screamy, very angry.
Yeah.
And there was always the whole pretense of, he accidentally killed his wife and daughter, and that's why he's white with the ashes of their bodies. And you're like, man, that would maybe give him some complexity, and it just doesn't.
No, he's literally just angry.
Yeah, he's just he's completely monotone and very boring, and also just like super violent for no reason and stuff like that. So whatever. This is Sony Santa Monica basically going, cool, we made this character, let's put him under a microscope and kind of make him atone for his past, his past actions, much in the way that Naughty Dog did that with Nathan Drake and Uncharted 4.
Like the whole series comes full circle almost.
It does.
Which is really cool.
Like, it's super weird that this game doesn't have a number on it, because in a way it almost feels like it's rounding out what God of War was. Like, if this was the last God of War, it would almost be fitting. but I'd also be incredibly sad because this seems like a great kicking off point for a brand new series. So basically the premise is Kratos is a little bit old, or much older. He's got a beard, really cool beard. And he's made the jump from the Greek world to Norse mythology, essentially, which is surprisingly fairly familiar because if you watch a lot of like the Marvel Thor movies, the interpretation of that mythology is very different to God of War, but the names are the same.
The same.
Like your central hub world, you eventually, after a few hours of play, you'll get to the central hub world called the Lake of the Nines, and in the middle of that is like the Bifrost, and that's exactly what like Thor uses to get from Earth to Asgard. And
but
the Bifrost connects like the 9 realms of Norse mythology together.
But even because I'm playing The Witcher now, I've just recently finished Skellige, and a lot of that also is like Norse inspired.
Yes,
there's a lot of the god names and
a lot of Viking
stuff. Yeah. So, the point is that I think that setting's very familiar to people, even though they might not realize it.
Yeah, it's super weird. But then, in traditional God of War manner, none of the gods are great. So you get these like mentions of Thor and his brothers, and you get these mentions of Odin. But Kratos, having gone through like 6 games where the gods have constantly fucked him over, like he is super not trusting of them. You hear from other people in the lands that Thor is a drunk, belligerent asshole that, will just come and wreck your shit just because he's hammered. Like stuff like that. Like these aren't great. These are very dark interpretations of characters, but it also has room, for you to kind of learn about a lot of very small Norse folk tales. So there's a lot of lore in this game. Like you pick up little journal entries, you find these like cupboards that have paintings of past battles and stuff. Wow. And Kratos' son, because he's got a son now, what's his name?
I've also gone blank now. Isn't it?
Atreus. That's
Atreus.
It. Yeah, Atreus.
I knew it was with an A.
Yeah, I always say it incorrectly because it's pronounced not very different to how it's spelled, just not how I would have said it.
Does Kratos just yell like Atreus?
Yeah,
like, what is he saying?
More often he just says boy.
Boy.
It's like boy. Like he gets to like a pedestal that Kratos can't read because apparently he's like illiterate or something. He's just like, boy, read this. And he takes out a boat to get on the lake. He's just like, boy, get in the boat. Like, it's fucking...
Like, Dad, I have a name, goddammit, and it's whatever.
But basically, the story starts off with Atreus' mother and Kratos' wife having passed away, and her last wish is for them to take her ashes up to the highest peak in the realm and scatter it there. And you get a sense very early on that Atreus was basically brought up mostly by his mother, and Kratos, being a very hardened, very cold warmonger, like doesn't really know how to connect with his son. So this journey most of the time is about Kratos understanding his son and his son connecting with his father, and just the very interesting riffs of like Kratos being very cold and hard towards everything, and his son having this sort of like innocence and different perspective, and them clashing in a lot of ways when it comes to like, should we help these people? And Kratos is like, no, they serve no purpose to our journey. And Atreus is like, yeah, but we have to help them. Stuff like that. It's very interesting. It's very, very cool. It's not overdone. It's not, polar opposite preachy in a way. It's the voice acting and the animations are so natural that you believe this entire story from the get-go. There's some super great moments in the openings that I don't want to spoil because...
Don't spoil nothing.
Yeah, no, because like seeing them happen, seeing them play out, it's just so well directed and so well done in a movie sense. So from that perspective, Kratos is multi-layered. He's interesting again. The story's interesting so far because, of course, a lot happens in between them just wanting to go up to this mountain to scatter ashes. But the biggest change is just how the game plays.
Yeah, the combat's
it's
been given a
completely different.
Different
game. Completely different game. It's no longer a hack and slash. There's no longer the fixed camera points around the maps. You basically have a camera now over Kratos' shoulder, and the whole game is done in one cut. There's no loading screens. There's no... All the cutscenes play on from natural gameplay, and they seamlessly transition into gameplay again.
Sure.
It's beautiful, and but the combat is I know it's really reductive to say this, but it really is a lot like something in Dark Souls.
So you would say it's God of War is the Dark Souls of God brawlers.
Yeah, I mean, it's got these really deep RPG elements to it where you kind of craft new gear for yourself. So like your chest plates, your braces, your axe can be upgraded, everything like that, and everything has a level, and it ups attributes like damage and vitality and stuff. So it's very, very deep RPG stuff. And at the beginning, I was like, well, all these enemies aren't really that difficult. Maybe this stuff doesn't really matter. But yesterday, I started reaching enemies that are like levels above me and are 100% killable if I'm very patient and very careful, much in the way that I'd play something like Bloodborne. But if they hit me once, I die, something like that. So there is that like difficulty in it. But basically the combat, you have your one axe. It's called Leviathan axe. It's more like just a frost axe. And then a shield and your bare fists. And you can you have to kind of swap between these in battle a lot. So for instance, you can like throw your axe at an enemy if you've used a heavy attack to throw the axe and it hits them in a precision spot like their head or their legs. The enemy will freeze and they'll be like stunned. And then you can use your fists to take out other enemies or take out the one that's frozen and do extra damage. You can use your shield to parry and block certain attacks. And you have a dodge and a roll that is assigned to X that kind of like shifts you around your locked target. But the way in which all of these things work together is really clever. So axe attacks do more damage and they can apply frost to certain enemies, but punching attacks will apply rage to them. And if you build up their rage meter, if it's full, then they get stunned and you can do like an instant kill, or you can initiate like a, get on top of this big brute and control them for a few seconds. So swapping between them and knowing which enemies are susceptible to what is very paramount to how combat works. And then you have all these other things like you get special light and heavy attacks that you can kind of swap and upgrade. So some will be like an aimed attack, some will be an area of effect attack. Like you can chop and change according to how you want to play and what effect you kind of want to bring to each fight. And then you can imbue your weapons with enhancements that increase certain damages or decrease, defenses on enemies. Or there's a lot of like role playing going on here, like more so than Horizon Zero Dawn ever did, because a lot of people are like, man, there's a lot going on in Horizon, but I feel there's way more to keep track of in God of War that initially feels super overwhelming. Like they're like, here are all these bars, here's what cooldown does, here's what runic damage does, here's what this does. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm just hitting people in the face right now. And at the beginning, because you have a limited moveset, your moveset is kind of unlocked by burning experience. Because it's super limited, you kind of feel like, well, I'm just doing light and heavy attacks to these things and hoping I don't die. But I'm to this point where I'm like combining those attacks, I'm pausing on certain attacks to activate certain other attacks. Like it feels super good at the moment. The combat feels really, really smooth and really fluid, and the game is just paced so well that I never feel like I'm just going from one fight to the next. It has these moments of traditional God of War puzzle solving and collectible hunting, and all of that is super engrossing. Like I always peer around a corner that doesn't seem like it should be there. There's moments in the hub world where Atreus is like, oh, the water levels dropped, I see new places where we can dock a boat. I'm like, cool, doing that straight away. Like really, really cool stuff. And just last night I was fighting this new enemy type that I found that is really challenging, and I spent about an hour trying to kill this thing. I eventually didn't, but like the challenge is there. The thing is like, I want to know what he's protecting. I want to know what he's hiding. Loot. Yeah, exactly. And there's like the whole tiered loot system, like green, blue, purple, gold, stuff like that. So there's things to chase. It's a completely different game. Like this isn't a God of War game that you've played before, but it's also one that I wish existed way before now, because I'd probably be way more into the series than I ever was.
Now you are.
Yeah, I'm super into this game. It's probably like, it's neck and neck with Bloodborne for being my favorite PS4 exclusive at the moment.
And how long have you played it for now?
must be edging on close to 20 hours.
Sure,
maybe.
not done.
Not done, no. I mean, I just unlocked a new kind of realm to visit, and I've got a separate realm to visit as part of the story, and I'm finding these items that are like, hey, if we find all of these pieces, we'll go to another realm. I'm like, holy shit, there's so much going on here. Like, there's so much to do. And I thought I was nearing the end, and nope. But at the same time, not like a Last Guardian where I'm like, oh man, I got to play more. I'm just like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, you've got more.
Thank God, I've got so much more I can do. So apparently the game's around 30 to 40 hours if you really start looking for things. So I might be approaching the end in the next 10 or so hours, which is a very long time still, but I'm loving it.
I know what's the lead designer's name? Corey
Barlog.
I think I heard him on a podcast earlier this week. He was saying their lead designer, or one of the big guys developing the game, did a 100% playthrough.
Yeah.
And it took him, I think, 43 hours.
And he knew.
And he was saying and he knows where everything is.
Yeah, there's so many collectibles that I don't think I'll get all of them.
I don't know if I butchered that number. I think it was 43 hours, but it's like a substantial number. Like that, and he's like, yeah, but the point is this guy knows where to find everything.
It's a long game.
Yeah. And I mean, from what you've said, I'm quite happy to hear. Not that there's anything wrong with linear, but the God of War games are very linear traditionally. And it seems like there's stuff here you can go explore, like at your own pace, which is really cool. I mean, it's a hub world, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's a hub world. It's not so much like an open world like Horizon Zero Dawn. Definitely not. But it's certainly, you've got this like hub world that you can kind of explore at your own leisure, and environments allow for backtracking, which is something that previous God of War games never really allowed. They felt like segmented levels.
Yeah.
So if you see like a chest in one of the opening places, I think one of the first things you encounter in the story is this door that's sealed with magic, and you come across a lot of them through the story, and I still haven't figured out how to open one of them. And that's like right at the beginning. So it means I can go all the way back to where I started. Yeah, and the levels themselves are really clever. Like, they remind me a lot of Dark Souls in a more condensed version, where areas will kind of overlap on themselves. So you'll see a chest and you'll be like, there is no way I can get to this thing. There's nothing for me to hit with my axe. There's nothing for Atreus to shoot with arrows. Oh, by the way, Atreus uses arrows, and in combat you use his arrows for like stuns and stuff. He's super useful. He's not like a computer-controlled AI, kind of like Ellie in The Last of Us.
You can tell him what to do.
You tell him what to do, and you upgrade his abilities as well, and he's super useful. Like, I really love Atreus. So,
nice.
What was I saying? Oh, yeah.
About
things fold over on each other, and you'll see like a chest, and you'll be like, cool, can't get there. You'll carry on for like maybe half an hour, and eventually the level will just like fold on itself, and you'll be on the other end of that chest.
Oh, that's cool.
So I
appreciate stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really well designed, and the like puzzles and additional collectibles don't feel like you're taking a massive departure off the main course. So it's very easy to go like, oh, I'll deviate here quickly, grab a chest, carry on with my journey, you know what I mean? And it feels, the puzzles are not super difficult, but also not immediately clear. So when I solve them and go, aha, cool, understood that. Yeah, but there's also parts where like I go to areas and I see things that look like I should be able to interact with them, but I don't have the tools that I need or the abilities, and I'm like, cool, got to come back here. There's a lot going on in the game, and I just appreciate the level of detail that's gone into it.
That's awesome.
But I'm still playing it, but it's scary good. Like, way better than I thought it would be.
I think the general sentiment is that like people thought it would be good, but it's sort of exceeding expectations.
It's got like a 95 on Metacritic.
Yeah, which makes me really happy.
It's mental. Like I knew it would be good, but in the last month they started ramping up the marketing, and we got to see more of the combat. And when I saw the combat, I was like, oh. Yeah,
no, likewise. I mean, we saw that initial E3 reveal showed a bit of fighting then, and it seemed like, okay, you've got an axe, you're doing your thing, but
you didn't know how much of that was
you're just beating your way through everything. But then when they released that 15-minute gameplay video, and it was like, no, you've got your heavy attack, your light attack, you can throw your axe, you can call it back, you can use your shield, you can use your fists, and it's like, oh,
the calling back thing feels super good as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, come on, you like Thor.
Yeah, it's like a Thor thing. Like, it's completely purposeful. Like, you have to press triangle to recall your axe, and it's just like you can throw it, it impales like an enemy, and then you recall it, and while it's like getting itself out of an enemy, it kills them a bit more, and then it hits someone in the back of the head on the way back. It's so satisfying. It's crazy satisfying. It's one of the best parts of that game, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can we take a moment to talk about the best feature? The fact that Kratos doesn't take like 3 years to open up a chest.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Holy crap. You just... every now and then, I find myself mashing circle just out of like muscle memory, like to open a gate or something, and it's like nope, just does it.
Because that's one thing I always thought about the series. I'm like, you have this impossibly strong guy. And I mean, not just me. Everyone always criticized or laughed at it.
And he struggles to open this chest.
You have this really strong guy who can like beat the shit out of a Titan and guards or whatever, and then like there's this little chest which takes like 34 years of button mashing to pull open for a few red orbs. So I know that in that gameplay they showed him like just punching through the chest. I was like, hallelujah.
It's just really, it's also nice from an accessibility point of view, because like a lot of people struggle if you have certain disabilities, holding controllers or how any way you play. I know the biggest complaint with a lot of people is button mashing. It's like if it's put into like a core mechanic, they can't get past it. So that's why a lot of games, I think Uncharted did it. They got in guys from, I think I might be butchering this, but an organization in America called Able Gamers. They came in and consulted with them on like how to make this game a bit easier to play from an accessibility standpoint. So things like colorblind options, and one of the big things in Uncharted is that they had an option where you would normally button mash like to open a door with a crank or a lever or something. You can just hold the button.
I know.
And God of War has the exact same thing. It's buried in menus, but there's certain like QTEs where you'll have to mash circle, but you can change that to hold.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is just like, it takes nothing away from the game. Just fucking put it in there.
Yeah, you let people customize too, however they want to play.
Exactly. And you can customize your HUD, so there's no information on the screen. I kind of don't like it. I think Horizon Zero Dawn did a better job of it. Like Horizon has this option where it's like an in-between of on and off, where it's adaptive, so everything will fade away when it's not needed, and then you can just brush your finger on the touchpad and it will light up for a few seconds. And then when you're in a battle, like your health will come up and your ammo count will come up. God of War doesn't have that. It has a simple on and off thing. So it's like I can keep everything off and get the whole view of the screen, but then I also can't see health bars above enemies, which is a bit I can't see enemy attack indicators, which is kind of cool because Atreus always shouts out if someone's about to attack you from behind. So it's a bit more immersive. But there's certain things like my health bar, not being able to see my health bar is detrimental. So I wish there was that in-between kind of method there. But yeah, the game's a looker.
How do you, sorry, to go back to the health bars, how do you feel about health bars on enemies? Because I know in the old games, it really was a matter of like, here's a new enemy. You just sort of beat them up until they die. Does it take away from the game?
No, not at all. I mean, I think the game's more RPG-focused nature needs that. Because combat is so much more purposeful, you kind of need to know which enemies are on what standing with health, so you can like
figure out who to take out first. So take out
these guys first, or take out these guys first, stuff like that. Because combat feels really brutal at the beginning because your health is really small, and you die very quickly. Like Kratos dies incredibly quickly, which adds to the challenge. So you constantly have to pair up parries and dodges and choose your attacks, because it almost feels like attacks have the Dark Souls thing where animation locks. So once you've initiated an attack, you can't get out of it. And I found instances where you can kind of like throw in a block in the middle of attack, and it's kind of lenient in that way. But it is like, there are many, many instances where I've gone for a heavy attack and I've just been like, oh, fuck. And, like my attack's not going to stagger this enemy, he's going to hit me and I'm going to die. So the health bars are needed. Like enemy levels kind of give you an indication of, like the health bars range from green to purple. So it goes like green, yellow, orange, purple, and the closer it gets to purple, the more difficult the enemy is going to be. So you'll sometimes come across pockets of enemies where you'll open a rift. These are these like combat challenges, and like 3 purple enemies will come out,
and you just run away.
And they hit you once and you die, and you're like, I'll come back later when I've got gear that's maybe closer to level 8, because I'm like level 3 at the moment. So sticking with the RPG thing, I think it's needed. You can turn it off, but
Yeah,
I think it takes away from the game.
If you want to Dark Souls the game up a bit.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to kind of strategize when you can't visibly tell how dead enemies are. So.
Yeah, and I mean, I've only seen limited gameplay, but what sort of numbers are we talking in enemies? Do you have like a screen full of, is it like 5 at a time, 10, 20, 30?
Depends.
Like, do you...
It very much depends. There's some instances where there's tons of enemies on the screen, like sometimes lower level ones, and then some instances where there's like 2 or 3, but the 2 or 3, one will be a really fast moving one, while another one will be like a massive ogre or something like that. So they vary it up. There are instances where I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of high level enemies in here. Maybe I shouldn't be in this fight at the moment. So, and even Atreus sometimes will be like, we should probably retreat. And I'm like, you're probably right, but I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just going to like,
I'm your father.
Yeah, I'm your father. But yeah, I mean, the fact that a God of War game gets you to think about certain things like that is...
That's really
in itself just shows how different it is. I think if you were someone who really didn't enjoy the past God of War games, you can definitely get into this. You don't need to have played the other ones to know what's going on. Maybe brush up on a bit of a background on why Kratos was so one note, and then you're pretty much good to go. But it's a staggeringly good game.
I think the fact that they've just called it God of War sort of, does welcome new people. It's not a thing, but I think to benefit everyone, it probably is worth reading even just a brief overview, just to understand why Kratos is where he is, in like why he's so grizzled and like so sort of hardcore towards his son, like why is not compassionate, because
no, I do agree.
You have to understand where he came from. He fucking killed like every bloody god in the Greek pantheon, and so I think
you kind of need to understand also like why he's so against gods, and also it comes into the story, but he hides certain things from his family. Yeah, and if you don't know what he's hiding, the impact of
you'll lose
that decision. You lose a bit of that, but you don't need to know. Oh, in God of War 1, he became the God of War and he killed this god, and that you don't need to know.
Yeah, no, you don't need to know that.
A very brief overview would certainly help, but I don't think it's a hindrance. Like, it's not like an Uncharted 4 where a lot of people are like, can I play Uncharted 4 if I haven't played the rest? And I'm like, you can, but you'll lose a lot.
You'll lose
you'll lose the the relationships that Nathan has had with Sully and Elena and stuff, and how the game even tackles that, like you'll miss it.
I mean, even the one part of Uncharted 4 where he's it's right toward the beginning where he's in the attic and and he's picking up pieces, like here's this relic, you're like, oh, that's from games. Like Uncharted 2, and then he picks up and like, oh, that was from Uncharted 3. Like, it's just things like that you'll miss. But I think it is cool that they've sort of rebooted the franchise and teams. I don't know if there'll be a sequel. I know you haven't finished it.
I'm sure there will be. I'm pretty sure. I know they said they wanted to explore more within this mythology, but then just yesterday, I saw the director Cory Barlog saying he wants his next game to be a new IP. So whether that is within Sony Santa Monica or at another studio, I don't know. But I would be shocked if Sony doesn't immediately greenlight
a sequel
to this, much like they've greenlit a sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn.
God of War Battle Royale.
Or maybe Sony Santa Monica turns into like a Naughty Dog where they have another team working on a separate game like Uncharted and The Last of Us, and they manage to alternate between the two. I'd be down for that too. But I would be very, very surprised if there isn't more God of War after this.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say no.
No.
I'm happy the series is back, and I'm really happy that it's matured into what it is today. Yeah. So it seems more, mature.
It is.
I use that word already, but you know what I mean.
It's the Logan to
that's actually
the God of War franchise. It's
a Logan ripoff, man. You've got your child.
You got a child. You're old. I hope Kratos doesn't die at the end. Don't know if he does, but stuff like that. Spoilers if you haven't watched Logan.
He does.
Yeah,
that's
Wolverine dies. I'm sorry. But yeah, play this game. It's out on April 20th. So next Friday.
420 blaze it up.
Yeah, 420. Kratos
it is next Friday. Goddamn. So the review copies actually went out pretty early then.
Yeah, Sony's pretty good at their stuff. Yeah, I know Shadow of the Colossus I got like 3 weeks early.
Awesome.
Last Guardian also got really early. They're pretty good with that stuff. The only issue is that they like sending press kits.
Yeah.
So it's all physical.
So
we get delayed because like, hey, it's coming from the States or it's coming from Europe, and then it gets stuck in customs here. So international press have had the game for like 2 weeks, and I've had it for
they've like
4
scored
days
it and finished it.
Yeah, that's why the reviews are out, and my review's still, in
I think
process.
20 hours is very respectable, but you've got a bit of time to put in
I
still.
need to finish it. I need to see this thing through.
Yeah.
Like, give it the best run.
Good thing you had the day off as well. I mean, geez, you put a whole lot of time in yesterday.
Yeah, it actually it worked out quite well. I was very sick, and normally I don't play games when I'm sick, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit on the couch and see what I can play if I can focus. And I ended up playing till like midnight. It was I didn't move.
And you're better today.
Yeah, I'm better today.
So therefore, I should have the game.
I mean,
play it and get better.
Yeah, exactly. Clearly, the cure to the common cold is God of War. They've not only made a great game, they've cured the most incurable disease in the world or something.
Look, we all know the only thing stopping me from robbing you of the game is your army of dogs. They won't let me out past the front door.
They're getting used to you. This is dangerous because now you can just come into my house.
Sneak in and steal your loot. I mean, come on,
exactly.
You got your
This
beautiful
is very
screen,
dangerous.
God of War. Come on.
Have you been playing anything else?
Yeah, I've dived into. I'm sure you'll be happy to hear this. SteamWorld Dig 2 on the
great game. On Switch?
On the Switch, yeah,
Okay,
of course on the Switch. What kind of game would you take me for?
I mean, we have to
casual
talk about Switch at least once.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking PlayStation all day.
Yeah, no, God. People are going to be like, man, this PlayStation podcast now.
I missed the Nintendo podcast.
Yeah,
is
me
what
too.
People will be saying. So yeah, I've been playing a bit of SteamWorld Dig 2. Almost only about 2-3 hours in.
Okay.
So really just sort of learning the mechanics and getting into it. I don't have many power-ups. I've got the little water bomb thing, whatever you call it.
Yeah, the pressure bomb or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm really enjoying the game. Like, I've fallen in love with it. And there's just something therapeutic about beating the shit out of rocks and then discovering, there's loot and you go back up, you cash it in, you get an upgrade maybe. If not, you go back down, you dig deeper. Oh, like there's something over there or a room with a little puzzle I need to solve quickly. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, I don't think it's a long game from what I've heard.
It's not super long, but it's like intoxicatingly addictive.
Yeah, no, it really is, because the thing, I've got into the loop now, so I play my Switch before bed, and it's like, cool, I'm just going to do I'm going to venture into the mine once, and that takes, it's like 5 minutes.
It's not long.
Like, okay, well, let me go hand in and I'll just do another quick, loop of the mine, 5 minutes. Okay, now I've got a better light, so I can stay down longer, so I'm just going to go down, and it's like 6-7 minutes, whatever it is. It's not even that long. It's quicker.
Yeah,
it's like shorter bursts in that.
The loop structure is very, very quick.
It's done very well. I get a few loops in. I'm like, I'm really falling in love with the game, and I'm. A lot of people have said, just wait until you see like what other stuff you unlock.
Oh yeah, because the game does a really good job of like steadily dripping these upgrades towards you. So like, it's just like you'll see paths which are blocked off, and you're like, I clearly can't get there.
You can't get there, yeah.
And as soon as you pick up an item, you think about all the spots where you could apply that item, and you go back, and that just opens up even more doors to get even more items. It's so rewarding. It's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm still really early days. I don't have much going in terms of power-ups, but I am really enjoying it, and I'm keen to finish it.
It's really like, it's such a great mixture of Metroidvania and platform.
Oh yeah,
and like, it feels good to platform in a game.
It's like a quirky little game. Like the characters are awesome. I mean, in the town you've got that asshole mayor.
Yeah,
and then you've just got people you talk to, and you go down, you do a bit of stuff, come back up. They might have new things to say, and visually it runs beautifully. I mean, it's not like a graphic intensive game, but I love the
really
bright colors, and it just runs, and even the sounds, like just hitting, you know. When you hit a wall that you can't get through, there's that sound, it just, I don't know, there's something satisfying about it that I really enjoy.
The animation is really cool because it almost looks like your arms and legs aren't connected to your body, they move kind of independently.
I mean, and then there are times when like the game makes me very angry, where it's in unexpected ways, because I think there's a perk or something I have where if I hit, like say a gemstone block, it sort of explodes.
Okay.
And then sometimes it can create a chain reaction, or sometimes there are those cactuses you hit.
Oh yeah, with the spikes.
So then like sometimes in a moment of ignorance, I'll just be like whacking my way through, and then like a rock will land on me from like an unexpected place. But I mean, it's like a minor setback. The game's so quick, you die, you reload, you go back down. And
it's a great game. It's like you said, it's a great thing that you can pick up and play for a few minutes, or just get super addicted to for like an hour or two at a time. I was really sad when I finished it because it is just really good.
Yeah.
But
Did you play the first one at all?
No. So that's the thing. Now I kind of want to go back and play SteamWorld Dig, the first one, and Heist, which was kind of like a spin-off of sorts.
Oh, yeah?
It still follows the story, but the gameplay is a bit different. Because the whole premise of the second one is you looking for Rusty, who is the protagonist
from
of
the first one.
Yeah. So like I have no context for any of that. I don't think it's super important. I don't think it's a story-heavy game.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know like what he did
happened,
or whatever.
How did he get down into the mine?
Yeah, exactly. But I have heard that this is a far more refined experience than the first one ever was. So it might be maybe difficult for us
to
going
go back to the first. I did consider playing the first one before, but I was like, nah.
They're all on Switch now as well.
No, they're on sale. So, but I was like, let me just get SteamWorld Dig too, because I know you said it was one of your favorite games of last year.
Yeah, it was 100% one of my favorite games.
Like, let me listen to this guy's opinion. He seems to know what he's talking about.
It was probably like one of the best action games of last year. I know Jeff also really enjoyed it. And I think you can grab it on PS4 and PC. It's not a Switch exclusive by any stretch. But I think it just works really well on Switch because, hey, you can fucking take it anywhere. And it's a game that works in short stints. So.
Yeah. Therefore, best game. Switch is the best platform
console ever. I love the Switch. Can't wait for Dark Souls to launch on Switch next month.
Are you going to pick up Dark Souls in the Switch?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm going to give Dark Souls a third attempt to like...
rein you in.
Yeah, to rein me in because it really didn't. But I kept playing the PC versions, so...
I've heard awful things about that.
Yeah, the PC version wasn't that great.
Well, the remaster will hopefully...
Yeah, and I saw some footage of it running on the Switch at PAX last week. It looks really good. It's only running at 30 frames, whereas on Xbox One and PS4 it's 60 frames.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that it can run at 1080p and 720p on the Switch, docked and undocked respectively, is incredible. So I'm keen to, fight some demons while I'm taking a poop.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Which demon are you really fighting?
Exactly.
Your bowels or
you got to split your concentration somewhere. So
I know.
Are you at all interested in picking that up?
Dark Souls.
Have you even played any?
No, I haven't touched any. I still need to play Bloodborne, which I'm going to get to. So that's on PlayStation, but the problem is on PlayStation I'm playing The Last Guardian now, and I still want to play Shadow of the Colossus, and I'm going to hopefully play God of War at some stage.
And you still go Witcher.
So Witcher is what I'm playing on PC. But then when I'm with the PS4, I'll end up playing Fortnite, which I'm still hopelessly hooked on. Although I'm not playing it as regularly, I still like to play it. Quite
it's a fun game every now and then, almost like a palate cleanser between other games.
It is, yeah. You just dive in, have a quick game, and that's and that's what I really enjoy about it. And what's been nice is that I've got a lot of people to play with. So whether it's work colleagues or friends, or friends I've made through playing other online games, or friends I've made through Lazy Gamer / Credit, there's always an audience to play with, which is quite cool. So yeah, but Dark Souls on the Switch, it's one of those things I want to play, but I'm not going to rush out and buy it.
Okay.
Which is sort of my sentiment with Skyrim, which is a game I've never played before. And I know it's on every platform, and I'm often I should probably play that.
The difference is Dark Souls is good and Skyrim's bad.
Skyrim's sick burn.
Here's your hot take for this podcast.
I can see a Skyrim fanboys.
It's a very average RPG.
You monster.
It is.
I will miss you. I'm going to record next week's podcast alone. It is not the best
Bethesda RPG out there. Fallout 3, what up? Still much better than Skyrim.
Oh, man. Yeah, those games.
Can't wait for responses to that.
Oh, boy. Do you think there'll be a Skyrim? Not a Skyrim, an Elder Scrolls 6 at some stage?
No, they're busy working on it. I don't know. Bethesda at E3 so far has been pretty good with whatever we show at this show is going to be out before the next show.
Yeah.
Like last year was Wolfenstein 2 and Evil Within 2, both of which launched before the end of the year. So I'd be kind of shocked to see Elder Scrolls 6 at this E3 because I don't think it's coming out this year. Maybe, Bethesda is running out of things to show at their constant conferences. Even last year felt a bit kind of like bare bones. So maybe they show it and it doesn't come out this year and it comes out next year. I don't know. I know Todd Howard, who's the director at Bethesda Studios, says that they're working on 2 or 3 big games at the moment. And one of them is Elder Scrolls.
Online.
I just fuck TSO Online. Woo.
Yeah.
Honestly, I couldn't care. Like,
Monster.
I could not care. Like, Skyrim was the game that, everyone's like, oh man, Oblivion was incredible. Morrowind was great. Can't wait for Skyrim. I remember I was at eGamer still and everyone was losing their shit over like the game launching in November. And I was like, man, I've never played Oblivion, but with all these fans, I need to give it a go. And like, I played it and I finished it and I was just like, it's okay. Like, it's the story's bad. The story's really bad, and the world doesn't react to what you do in the story. And like, I was just at the end of it, I was just like, it's fine.
Yeah,
like,
it's okay.
It's okay. Like, I didn't hate it. I don't think it's a bad game by any stretch. And everyone's like, yeah, but you didn't do this story. You didn't do this story. Like, Skyrim is more about the stories you make with yourself. I'm like, that's fine, but like, I just played The Witcher 2 that year. And I was like, this is an infinitely better game. Yeah. Like, its story is great. It's got great combat. At the time, I thought it was really good combat. And I couldn't understand Skyrim getting like these 10 out of 10 scores, winning best like RPG of the year. Like, just whatever. Skyrim is Skyrim, whatever. It's
more like Bad Rim. I'm kidding.
Yeah, more like Bad Rim. Yeah. But I don't.
That's a game. So sorry to go back to Dark Souls. That's my thinking is like it's something I want to play, but will I get around to playing it? I don't know. Wait 5 to 10 years to find out.
And there's let's use this as a great segue to get into the games coming out this coming week. If you didn't know already, God of War is. Hey,
what? Get out!
Get out! Did not know that. You should buy God of War. It's a really good game.
So
it's only on PS4. Yeah, that's coming out. I can't remember if it's this week or next week, but Nintendo is launching Donkey Kong Country
Frost Freeze
Tropical
something.
Freeze. I think that's yes.
I think that is the one.
Yes, it might be this week. I don't think it's next week because next week is Nintendo Labo, and I don't see.
Is that next week?
Yeah.
Oh wow!
No.
I'm sorry, I didn't know. Is it that close?
No, I lie. It's the week after. It's the 30th.
Okay, but still, that's a lot closer
very
than
close.
I thought it was.
Yeah. Labo's on the 30th.
When did they reveal it? It was like 3 months ago?
Yeah, 3-4 months ago, yeah. So wait, Donkey Kong could be next week then. Yeah, that makes sense. Either way.
Point is, that's coming.
God of War is coming out. Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze, whatever. Very good platformer from the Wii U is coming out soon. And then Labo on the 30th, which I'm super stoked for. I should get my order in. Yeah. I'm curious. Yeah.
How it's going to be received. Because, look, I watched that video and the way they sold it in that 1 minute video, I was like, shit, that's
super clever.
Oh, what is it? It was like a 2 minute video,
yeah,
whatever
it was like
the hell it was. But like the way they built it up with the song and then like just everything worked together. So I was like, damn, like that's some solid marketing right there. Like you've got my interests and yeah, it looks awesome, but will it actually be that awesome? Like, will be playing a piano on your Switch be as awesome as it looks? Well, I don't know. That jetpack looks cool though. The
robot thing?
The robot mech thing. I'm
with
like,
that strings connecting.
Yeah, I'm like, that looks cool. But I mean, are these little like once-off things that are just, well, it's nice to look, like it's cool to build your little Labo and then use it like once? Or is it something that, I don't know.
I think this is what people forget is that everyone's like, why is Labo 900 Rand for cardboard? You've got to remember that
that shit is engineered.
Yeah, each of those little inventions has its own game. So it's software as well. And I think that's where a lot of people are wondering, what it's going to be. What is the software going to be? Is it going to be little mini games? Is it just going to be like a control for whatever you're building? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
But what are you most excited to build, essentially?
I don't know. That jetpack looks awesome. But the one game that I found most intriguing, or the one that just stood out to me, is that one where you sort of put your Switch in and it acts as a house. I'm just curious to see how, like, is it literally you hit the one side and like the tap goes on? Well, I don't know if that's what was
I don't
shown.
even know what the house is.
But
like
yeah,
what it does.
but I mean, I know there are things where you do something like you can change it from, you hit a button and it changes from day to night, for example. Like,
it does. I didn't even see that.
Unless I'm mistaken.
No, maybe. I mean, maybe.
But there are little things like that. I'm like, how deep is that experience? Is it literally like those three things? Like, cool, you can put the water on. Can you do that and that? And like that's it. It's all. Are there multiple implementations where you get taken out the house and you can do other things? Like, we don't know. We only know what we know from the trailer, and there have been some impressions, I think, based on
I think media got some hands on with it last month, and I think the big thing that came out of there was the I think it's called the toy box mode. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Where it's like you can basically turn your Joy-Con into like rudimentary robots and give them commands. So you can be like,
look, that's
press
one thing
this
I forgot
button,
about.
vibrate or whatever. So you're building little cool robots. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, and that like as interesting as I think that is, I'm also just dying to see how it works because the way you can have like a remote control car, for example, and the way it works is that your Joy-Cons vibrate and it makes it move. I'm like, that's cool. How long will the battery last, for example, if it's just solidly vibrating?
That's also true, yeah. It's a good point.
So it's just, the idea is awesome, and they've sold me on the idea. I just want to see how it actually manifests now. Like, what is the real thing like? So yeah, we'll see. I like it. So
it reminds me a lot of, in school we had this this Lego play kit that was sort of like an introduction to programming in the sense of like flow control. So you'd have these blocks on the software and you'd put all these blocks into a workspace and connect them with like wires. Like if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. And that is essentially rudimentary programming. And the Switch toy box looks a lot like that. It's like if this button is pressed, vibrate, or if the motion sensor senses this, do that. Like I want to see how far they get into that and if it can be used for like educational purposes or just fun inventions and
shit. I want to go to a school that has Nintendo Labo as part of the curriculum.
Can't wait for the Nintendo Labo class. Man. That'd be great. But yeah, I'm keen to see it.
But yeah, that specific. I mean, sorry, I went to school at a time when programming was like not foreign, but it wasn't sort of as mainstream as it or as like common as it is now. Because I think
you're only like 3 years older than me.
I'm like 3 decades now. But I think the curriculum sort of changed when I went out of school and programming and that sort of engineering stuff is like more common today than it was back then. So kids are learning that stuff regularly or like as part of their everyday life. I think Nintendo Labo just feeds into that toy box mode in particular, giving them tools to do like, make whatever the hell they want or, just let the imagination run wild.
Yeah, exactly. So, let it kind of...
Maybe it'll teach old farts like me how to program. Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what they end up doing with that. So, yeah, that's out on April 30th. Should we just do some quick news?
Yeah, tell me what happened last night. Because you said
so a lot happened last night. Yeah, this week has been kind of so. The thing that's been in the news a lot lately is a lot of Spider-Man stuff because Game Informer got their month-long coverage of it up. So firstly, it's coming out beginning of September, which is super awesome, super cool. I'm excited. Very excited. A lot of the cool things that I've seen from the coverage are like these swinging mechanics look really awesome. It's using, like physics to kind of replicate the real feel of Spider-Man and how he swings through Manhattan. Really, really fun. You're also playing a Peter Parker who is 8 years into being Spider-Man, so he's pretty adept at what he does.
That's cool.
The combat looks like it apes a lot from Arkham, the Batman Arkham games, but it's got a sense of fluidity and experimentation that Batman never has. Like Spider-Man has all these really cool gadgets and the way he can move around is a lot more nimble and parkourish. So
Peter Parkourish.
Peter Parkour. So yeah, Spider-Man's looking fucking dope.
Yeah. Like, when is that out? It's got a release date. September.
It is looking really, really good. And I think Insomniac were the perfect people to get on board with that. Yeah. So they just, I think it was 2 days ago or a day ago, they like continually revealing new costumes. And they revealed the Avengers Infinity War Iron Spider suit. And
awesome.
It looks so good. Yeah, it looks really good.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that game. Very excited.
Speaking of Avengers, that's like 3 weeks away as well. Just FYI. 2 weeks. Sorry, 2 weeks.
Yesterday. I'm so excited.
So soon.
Yeah. Well, we can... Are you seeing it on the Friday?
No.
Oh, man, I was going to be like, we could podcast about that.
Oh, well, I don't know if I'd get tickets now, but...
I'm pretty sure it's a public holiday. So it's the 27th.
Oh, it's on the public... Interesting.
Yeah, so we got easy tickets for like a midday showing.
I'll make a plan.
Yeah.
Lenska, if you're listening to this, we're going to watch.
I'm going to 2:00 at Eastgate, so you must join.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
We still have to catch her up though on her Marvel lore. She hasn't seen Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh my God. She's got 13 days.
13 days.
She's got 13 days.
We should just watch the whole Marvel anthology.
Yeah, one Marvel movie a night.
I think it has to be more than one a night. Surely there's more than that.
I think there's, I don't even know how many there are now. I know Garth and Abby keep good friends.
They marathon. I think they marathon like all the Marvel movies
before
basically every movie.
Yeah, because I've seen her tweeting that they've watched, like every now and then they tweet that they watched a certain one in preparation. So yeah, you see, it's possible.
I've got to do
Get
it.
Lenska on that train.
I will. But yeah, sorry.
What were we saying?
We were talking about
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. I just took the train off the track there.
So that's what's been dominating news a lot. A lot happened last night, though. So
tell me the big news release from last night.
It depends. How much do you like BioShock?
I quite enjoy BioShock, I'd say. Okay, look. Here's the thing. I enjoy BioShock, but then I sort of wasn't worried about the franchise. But then the thoughts of there being a new game now, that seems very, very appealing. So good old Jason Schreier, also known as Press Sneak Fuck by the internet at large, writer for Kotaku, who does really good reporting. He did a whole breakdown of what kind of went wrong at Hangar 13, the guys who developed Mafia 3, and he had some cool details there, like they were busy working on a Mafia 4, but those plans have fallen through. It would have taken place in 1970s Las Vegas. I thought Mafia 3 was a good story. I just thought the game was very boring. And apparently Hangar 13 working on a new IP, and that's fallen through, stuff like that. So that studio's in a bit of a... shame.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot at the moment. But just while he was there doing his reporting, he heard from someone that there's a 2K-owned studio just across the road from Hangar 13, because Hangar 13 is also owned by 2K, that are working on a top-secret BioShock game.
Not so top secret anymore.
Yeah. The studio doesn't even have a name, so it seems like it's a brand new studio. But they're working on BioShock, and quite frankly, I thought it's about fucking time.
Yeah.
Irrational Games closed down, 4 or 5 years ago already?
Yeah, we've had the remasters.
Yeah, we've had the remasters, there's been a long time since BioShock Infinite came out.
Yeah. When I played... Oh, was it last year? When did they come out? Was it last year? Year before? I think it must have been the year before because I reviewed them. And I played, I put a lot more time into BioShock 1 than the others. And that game is still really, really good.
So good.
Just that story is just that world building and, I don't know, that whole setting. And then I played the Minerva's Den DLC, which I'd never played before.
Oh, that's for 2.
For 2, which is really great DLC. And then Infinite, I enjoy Infinite, but I understand why it gets criticized. But point is, all the games were pretty enjoyable. More than enjoyable. They were really, really good. I
think Infinite's still a decent game. I just think its story doesn't.
It just
hit.
It's not quite as impactful as the first.
Yeah,
two,
definitely not.
I don't think.
It gets muddled in what it's trying to say versus what the game is actually doing.
Yes.
Although the DLC for Infinite was really good because you return to Rapture and stuff.
I played that as well.
Very
good. That sort of rounds off the whole story.
Yeah, it runs off it kind of connects it to BioShock 1 and 2 and kind of closes that off entirely, which is really cool.
Yeah, so I didn't realize I wanted another BioShock until I heard that there might be another BioShock.
I'm interested to see because Ken Levine is a big part of why BioShock was, the seminal shooting series it was. So he's away doing his own thing now. Or actually, no, he started
a top secret studio.
A studio called Ghost Games, I think it is, or something like that. Ghostfire Games or something like that within 2K. But if this is a brand new studio working on BioShock, surely he's not working it. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm keen to see that name on a game trying to do something entirely different, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't know what setting they'll go for.
No
because
idea.
If they could play it safe, but I don't think they will. Have it same sort of thing, up in the sky, under the ocean. But if it's not those, which I don't think it'll be. In Benoni. In the 60s.
BioShock in Benoni. I'd fucking play that.
Where are they going to go? Because, maybe my imagination is just very limited or I'm not very creative in that way. I'm cool, you've done the ocean, you've done the sky. Are you going to just do a normal BioShock on the sun? Maybe. Do they go to another planet? They don't have to necessarily.
They don't have to, yeah.
But I think a large part of those games is the fact that their cities are living, breathing characters in themselves.
Yes,
so
100%, yeah.
It's very important that they get that right, and I just don't know where they're going to put it.
Yeah, the city of Rapture is so iconic.
Yeah, no, you know Rapture.
You see it and you just know what Rapture is and you know what BioShock is about. And the themes of those two BioShock games are all about states that have moved away from normal human life so that they can follow a path of civilization that they deem correct.
Yeah.
Like Andrew Ryan didn't want scientists beholden by laws and stuff like that. And, Columbia in the Sky was all about religion and racism and, well, okay, again, Infinite got muddled. But
it was all of those things and more.
But the cities embodied, the culture of the people that were there. So yeah, I'm interested to see. I'm keen to see
They're
what
going
what
to the
happens.
moon.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean they pull a prey and go to the fucking moon. Who knows?
Yeah. But the thing with those particular settings is that it is just interesting in that, like, when was BioShock 1? Well, both of them were like set.
2007.
No, but I mean, the actual setting was like in the 60s
It's like
or 70s, or not even. It might have been
70s,
earlier.
Maybe 40s even.
And it's just the setting, like, how would this even be possible? Like, really push, like, my imagination, like, shit, imagine this happened, where someone did figure out how to live. And they do try to explain it, like, here's like how they can do it, and here's how they, keep the city up in the sky. If they had to put it, like, sorry, as a dumb example, on the moon, I'm like, well, humanity's been on the moon. If you're not a conspiracy theorist, like, it's not that exciting sort of thing. So yeah, let's see.
But I do like the intersection of, like, realism and the fantastical.
Yes,
it's like Rapture exists because scientists could, like, fucking propel themselves forward in time because they didn't have to worry about ethics when they were experimenting. But at the same time, like, the Big Daddy suits are those old, like, 1940s, 1950s diving suits, and, like, there's a lot of, like, Art Deco around and stuff. And
I mean,
it's really cool.
It was made, like, inverted commas, believable, because it's like, well, how'd you know there wasn't a Rapture built in the 60s that had just been hush-hushed? Because that's just the way the setting was, like, very relatable, yet, like you said, fantastical. So let's see.
They need to nail
BioShock
that. I think the setting and the story are the things I look for mostly in BioShock games, and it's why I prefer the first one to the second one.
I preferred Rapture way more than Columbus.
But even just BioShock 2 still in Rapture. Like, I think BioShock 2 is a better game because it feels better to play. But I think BioShock 1's story and atmosphere is insane. Yeah,
that's why the BioShock 2 DLC, I think you and Jeff have always said it's probably like the best BioShock experience because it's just like a really good story. It's got the right mechanics and it just works so well.
It's written and directed by the people who ended up going to do Gone Home and Firewatch. So
I didn't know that.
By, oh God, I'm blanking on the names now. Steve Gaynor and Carla Zimunga, who opened up Fulbright and went and did Gone Home and Firewatch, which is coming to Switch. You should play Firewatch.
Now I'm going to play it now.
And they're busy working on a Egyptian exploration game coming out next year, which looks really fun. Yeah.
Cool.
So that was big news from yesterday. Other big news came from Sega. You ever played Shenmue?
Nope.
Neither.
Shenmue 1, 2, and
I was at that PlayStation 3 conference, the One of Dreams, where they announced like Last Guardian was coming out and the Final Fantasy VII remake and stuff like that. And one of the other big announcements there was Shenmue 3. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck is this.
Everyone's like, wow, Shenmue 3. And I was like,
David
what
from
is
SA Game was
3?
losing his shit. But I was just like, what the fuck is this game?
It's a Sega baby.
It's a Sega thing. I don't know if it's like a kind of like a Yakuza thing where it's like a brawler with like a lot of story or whatever, but I have no clue what this game's about.
Where is Shenmue 3 even?
I don't know. It had that Kickstarter campaign apparently still be working. I don't know. But essentially, Sega has said that they're bringing back Shenmue 1 and 2 for current gen consoles and PC. Maybe we should play Shenmue. I don't know. That game looks
see what the hype is about. Yeah,
that game just looks fucking old.
I've got zero interest.
Yeah, zero interest in that.
Completely honest.
If you're super into that, cool. The other big things that in Japan, Sega announced a Sega Genesis Mini. So they're getting on that, Nintendo SNES Mini thing.
That's amazing.
Again, not a console I owned.
No.
Not one I don't even know what games are on there. What, like Sonic?
Sonic?
And what?
And stuff.
And Shenmue 1? I don't know.
No. It's actually interesting though, because I'm still reading Console Wars, which is that book which basically shows how Sega and Nintendo were like literally at war in the 90s.
To like
Nintendo
Japanese clans.
Yeah. Busy fighting each other. No, so Nintendo had like the big share of they basically owned the gaming industry. Like, I don't know the numbers, but they had like 90 or 95%.
Is this Nintendo?
Nintendo, yeah. And this whole story is just how Sega sort of came back, like pulled back to sort of, take some of that market share away. And I think if I understood correctly, especially in the States, in Japan, they weren't as effective, but Sega of America did like really, really good stuff to get market share back. And they pulled even. Where I am in the book now, it looks like that it's 50-50, and Nintendo like, shit, like we can't ignore Sega. Okay, but what I'm getting at is that Sega, the systems have like, I've got no childhood memory of them. Like I've played Sonic. I think everyone's got some sort of memory of Sonic.
Yeah.
But I've got no affection for them like I do. It's not Crash Bandicoot. I mean, come on. I've got no like sort of nostalgia for them because like I don't have an association with the brand. But after reading this book, I have such a newfound respect for them, seeing what they did, because Nintendo is sort of portrayed, I know they're not that, but maybe they were back then. They portrayed as like sort of the bully, which I think it can,
big schoolyard winner,
the big schoolyard bully, because at the time they did own the market and they dictated like, they got royalties and the suppliers had to like do this and this and this. Like they had a big role in dictating how that whole industry worked. Okay. And I know like their whole intention was because they want to ensure quality and whatever. But it made it very difficult for other companies like Sega to get a piece of the pie. And just seeing how Sega came back and like basically fought Nintendo like in a in-your-face sort of way. Especially now that I'm in the marketing world, I just have a whole appreciation like, shit, like that's really amazing what they did. And yeah, so I've got an appreciation for the brand, but I don't know if I would buy the Genesis Mini, but I know what it where it comes from now.
Yeah, what it represents to a lot of people. I think if I take my knowledge of people at the time, like you were either a Nintendo kid or a Sega kid. Like you had one or the other. Yeah. So you like had your brand loyalty in a sense. So I think it's going to, hit that mark with people who owned a Genesis. They're like, cool, want to play Mortal Kombat again or something like that. Or, Sonic or... I don't know what else is on that thing. I don't know. I'm too young for this. It was kind of weird because Sega somewhere earlier this week also said that they want to get back into the hardware business, and I'm like, ooh.
Oh yeah, I don't know now. Ooh,
yeah, that's a tough nut to crack. Yeah. Like especially when all of your properties are now multi-platform. Yeah, like think about what properties Sega has, and it's like, what are you going to build as an exclusive library?
I mean, looking at the history now, that's basically what they did, except the difference is that they only had Nintendo to worry about.
Yeah.
Now, if they want to do it, like, by all means, go for it. But, I mean, you've got Xbox and Nintendo and PlayStation. Yep. Like, I don't know where you're going to fit in
Just look at every other platform in the past, 15 years that has tried to break in since... Because Microsoft was the last big company that kind of rooted themselves in consoles and have stayed. You've had companies like Ouya trying to make indie game consoles. Didn't work. Atari's trying to come in, doesn't look good. Steam even had their go with the whole Steam machines, computers that can cost the same as a console and rival them. Those things are practically dead. It's just not happening. It's not happening.
Disruption's a good thing. Don't get me
Nintendo
wrong,
nearly died in the console market. They were close.
I know. I think the whole gaming industry nearly died, and then Nintendo first-handedly resurrected it with Donkey Kong.
Yeah, so
arcade machine.
Things can happen so rapidly, but
I mean,
I don't know.
Sorry, to go back to console wars. Think about how Sony were. I mean, at one stage they were sort of going to pair up with Nintendo, and then Nintendo told them to get fucked in a very impolite, well, not an impolite way, but they literally told them to go get fucked in a implicit way. And they sort of started dancing with, the idea of teaming up with Sega. And then I'm not at that part of the story yet, but we all know what happened. Sony will actually, we're just going to do our own thing, and look where the PlayStation is today. Yeah. So,
Sony were making CD players at the time.
Yeah, no. So they're big. They had the CD players, and then they were just going to be attachments.
Yeah.
For the Nintendo or the what was it?
If I remember correctly, Nintendo were looking into making a console with a CD player instead of cartridges.
Yeah.
And Sony developed a console.
They developed
that. Actually, there was someone who unearthed a prototype. A while back.
There's an interesting story associated with it, but I'm not going to butcher it now because I don't know all the fine details. But the way the PlayStation was conceptualized, it was basically, long story short, it was if the thing with console wars is that it details these events, but it's not 100% accurate in the way it happened, but it sort of stitches together interviews and to craft the story.
Okay.
But the way the PlayStation came about was it was not greenlit by anyone at Sony. It was just worked in top secret, complete top secret by someone,
really? Wow.
and then shown, and then it's like, whoa, okay, like,
That is crazy.
so yeah,
And it's like one of the most profitable parts of their business right now.
Look where they are now. There are a lot of, I've got a lot of screenshots of that book I actually want to share, and I'll probably talk about it here when I'm done with it, because I think there's just so much material in there. You're like, what if scenarios?
Yeah, I would love to know like what the future would be like in a parallel universe where Nintendo decided to run with the CD idea, didn't piss off Sony by going back to cartridges, and they ended up collaborating on a console.
Exactly.
Like, what would have happened?
I really do think it like realistically, we would have just had the Nintendo. Like maybe we would have still had Xbox. I don't know how Sega would have done.
Even like Microsoft got into the console space because of Sony.
No, exactly.
Like, not because of Nintendo. So like what?
There's this alternate timeline where we have the Nintendo PlayStation, and that's what it was going to be called. The CD attachment was called the PlayStation for the Nintendo. It's the Nintendo PlayStation. And it's just
Could you imagine?
like mind blowing to imagine now, because Nintendo and Sony in particular are like the top of their games. Like they the best they've ever been. With the Switch and the PlayStation 4, they just like
poor Microsoft. Yeah.
Like no offense to Microsoft, but Nintendo and Sony have really just like
they've dominated.
They've dominated the last few years now. So sorry, that was a
I need to get to that book, because that's the part of like gaming history that's always fascinated me. Like I know that particular instance between Sony and Nintendo happened, but I'd love to read more about the Sega arcs and how Nintendo responded after PlayStation went live and stuff. So I think the book's written by Blake Harris, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it is Blake Harris.
Yeah, so
it's really well written. Yeah, like I'm probably reading it on my iPad on Kindle, and it says it's 550 pages.
It's quite a thick book.
Yeah, I haven't seen it like a physical copy, but I've just been reading. I'm like, holy shit, this book is long, but not in a bad way. I'm like, cool. Like I'm really, there are moments where it's a bit slow, but there are little insights. I'm like, holy shit, like I can't believe this happened, or imagine this turned out differently, or whatever. Yeah. Like two and a half decades later, gaming would have been a completely different thing.
Could you imagine? My
shit. So I think I will talk about that book when I'm done.
When you're done, I would love to, and I want to try read it so that we can have a whole deep dive discussion into that, because that'll be really interesting. I think, I bought it when I bought Blood, Sweat and Pixels, and I just haven't got to it yet. So another book you should read. But there's not much else news-wise that really caught my fancy this week. The other thing that happened, like kind of in combination with last week and this week, was so you know that game Lawbreakers, right?
Oh yes.
So you know Cliffy B, right?
Yes, that guy.
So Lawbreakers, actually a good game, which never managed to find a real audience. Bosky Productions eventually pulled the plug on it. The servers are still live, but they're not supporting the game anymore, which should not faze the around 9 people that were still playing it, according to Steam. That's another thing. Steam Spy is dead because Steam decided to change the policies of how privacy on accounts work. So now Steam Spy can't work. So that's kind of shitty, because it was the only real indicator of, how many people were buying certain things and whatever. Lawbreakers dead. And just like 2 or 3 days straight after they announced that, their new game called Radical Heights,
which is we'll give you 5 seconds to guess what genre this game falls
Battle Royale. There we go. Got it. Yeah, shit. Yeah. What a great...
So it is a Battle Royale.
What a niche market at the moment.
Wow, untapped potential.
Yeah, untapped potential, totally. So Radical Heights is like a Battle Royale in every sense of the word. They also describe it as extreme early access, which seems to be very poignant because of the people I've seen playing it and talking about it. That game is fucking rough. Like rough.
It's like
you can walk on water, and like
that's just the
placeholder boxes for ammo, and it's rough.
Jesus.
It's got this aesthetic that doesn't vibe with me at all. It's like this cheesy as fuck, like 80s game show vibe.
I know. I immediately think like Dude Bro, and I'm like, no.
It does not grab me at all. And it's just like this overly brash, like when they announced it and I watched the trailer, the first thing that came into my head was, this is Cliff Bleszinski's Drawn to Death. Like when David
yes,
Jaffe
yeah.
announced Drawn to Death, I was like, what are you doing,
what's
man?
happening,
Like,
yeah.
what is going on? It's just this in-your-face attitude attached to a game that doesn't look that great. And I was just like... And the thing is, I like Cliff Bleszinski. I think he's, I like him from his days on God of War, Gears of War. And I just don't know what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, the game's super early access, but there's already microtransactions in for cosmetics because, hey, the studio needs to make money. The game was apparently made in 5 months, and they're still continually working on it. But I watched, some people play games. It's got the cartoony aesthetic of Fortnite, but it plays a lot more like PUBG.
Okay.
And it's got different mechanics. Like, there's no circle. Like, quadrants of the map get blocked off at a time.
Okay. So I suppose I couldn't copy paste every item.
Yeah, and like when you kill enemies, like you can pick up their guns as well, and guns have certain rankings, but you also pick up money, and then money can be used at vending machines to buy other weapons, but then you can also deposit it at ATMs so that when you start another game, you have this fat wad of cash so you can buy a weapon from the get-go, which seems kind of weird. I don't know. It's strange.
I think it's cool that they are adding their own little touches.
Yeah, they've got their own twist. It's not just like, hey, it's another... There's also no plane. Everyone just kind of starts the game parachuting. Well, you don't even get a parachute. You just fly down to the ground and the guy does a somersault and he lands.
Well, that's cool because I suppose you couldn't have a plane and a parachute. That's
so for your very first game, if you're wondering if you might just die because you can't find the parachute button.
Whoa, what a cool fort flip.
I should try that next time I go skydiving. Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know. I have no inclination to play it, but it seems that it caught a lucky break because it launched, people were chatting about how bad it was, and then Fortnite went down for like 2 days.
Yeah.
So everyone was like, well, might as well
This
fucking try this, I guess.
This is when you grab your tinfoil hat and say, why was Fortnite down for 2 days?
Bosky used 5 months to figure out how to hack Epic Games as well.
Yeah, but it is interesting. I think it found sort of a audience. I don't know how long that'll last, but for that time Fortnite is done. I mean,
I don't know.
Never played the game. I don't know.
I mean, the space is so weird. Like when Fortnite first launched, everyone was also like, man, what a quick cash grab by, this game that was failing on a PvE side. Oh, it's kind of cartoony. Oh, it doesn't feel the same as PUBG. Whatever. And now it is leaps and bounds.
How funny would it be though if this game now, what's it called again?
Radical Heights.
Radical Heights, in like, say 5 or 6 months, it is the battle royale, and then Fortnite and PUBG are like shit. I don't think it'll happen.
I will firmly go and say that probably won't happen.
But I mean, it was just funny that, like you said, Fortnite's like, everyone's like, oh no, like this is a cash grab and a ripoff, and it's just funny how Fortnite is so popular now, and PUBG is sort of playing a bit of catch up in terms of. I mean, I think we've beat this topic to death now, but
PUBG looks shook, like probably. But to me, it just feels like we have the established 2 front runners in the Battle Royale series, much like when MOBAs were being hunted down by every company under the sun. Like Dota was there, League of Legends was the new kid on the block that was cartoony and more simplified and whatever, and ended up becoming a much bigger game than Dota because Dota just stuck to its ways. Like, I feel like PUBG is the Dota here and Fortnite is the League, and now you have all these other companies trying to put out their Battle Royale.
And how did that work out for all other MOBAs?
Yeah, exactly. There's not enough space for all of it. Like it's leading studios to another bloodbath of like these brand new studios putting out a new Battle Royale game and vesting all their hopes in it. And I don't know.
Who knows? But is that all the
that seems to be it. Okay. I mean, I'm sure there was a lot that we missed in the 2-week interim, but I'm too lazy
that's
to
fine.
Look right now.
What we can
we
talk
spoke
about,
a lot about God of War, though.
Yeah, we did. We spoke for a good, I'll tell you right now, probably like 35 minutes.
Oh, God of War.
And God of War, which I don't think is a bad thing.
No. Yeah, I'm very excited that I get to actually chat about it. So
yeah. But we do have some questions, which we haven't touched on for a long time.
We're already at 1 hour 30. These going to be speedy questions.
Okay, well, let me just pull them up quickly. I know Zoe asked, our good friend in the States, Zoe, who's now caught up, who's caught up on the backlog, and she's asked a question. She said, "Oh my God, sorry, I really did have this prepared before.
One job.
Hang on, let me just find it.
Meanwhile, let me tell you about our other sponsor,
Yellow Apron.
Yellow Apron Red Gloves. They deliver pre-portioned drink ingredients so you can make a healthy mojito at home.
Nice, non-alcoholic.
I'd do that.
Here's something that I've completely forgot about. I put out a poll last week
for Tristan Yennefer?
And I said, okay, serious question time. Who did you choose in The Witcher? Okay, now the reason I asked is because at the time,
I'm seeing one bar very much ahead of the other one there. That's all I saw.
I came to the point where I had to make the decision.
Okay.
We all know I screwed it up with Triss. I don't know. Did I ever talk about that?
Yeah, you did.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
And I told Yen that she was the one for me.
Oh, on the boat?
So,
the boat in the sky?
Yes. That
yes.
quest. Yeah, that side quest.
That's a great quest.
Which, I want to talk about that when I finish The Witcher and I do a full
great quest,
chat.
yeah.
Yeah. That is, yes, what a heartfelt moment. I was like,
I loved it.
This game
really
is just
good.
so serious, and then there's just this moment, like, oh my God.
Super good.
Yeah, okay. So I asked all of you, who did you choose? Because it is quite a big decision, choosing which sorceress you want to end up with, you know, besides killing monsters. So with 38%, we have Triss.
Did Triss win?
No, with 50%, we have Yennefer.
I fucking hate this podcast.
Oh, wait, you're a Triss person,
I
hey?
love Triss way more.
Oh,
Yennefer's stuck up.
You should. And with 12%, we have other. And I'm like, okay, that's...
Who's other?
I think Kira Metz is like the only other sorceress you can romance in.
Can you romance her?
You when I say romance, you like hook up with her, but you can't like commit to her.
I had no idea. Okay.
So yeah,
other the
so,
prostitute and the brothel.
Those are the people who hooked up with Kira Metz and visited the brothel, apparently.
Cool.
So that's
you
that
all
poll.
give Triss far less credit than she deserves. She's a great character with great red hair. She's been super loyal to you while Yennefer's just fucked around for 3 games and decided to come
I've
back.
heard that in the book that Triss like
This isn't the book. It's the game.
Well, the thing is, coming to the game myself, like I had no context, so it was like if it wasn't the one, it would be the other. And for the record, I did actually try. Like I did want to end up with Triss, but I was like, I don't love you, but stay with me. And she was like, no, I'm leaving, fam. And I was like, okay, well, I guess Yennefer's the one. And I think I am glad I chose her because. Then if I didn't, I would have missed that side quest.
Okay, fair, yeah.
Wait, if you hooked up with Triss, how did you do that side quest? Did you do both?
I did the side quest. I committed to both of them, and that's how I fucked up.
Oh, because you get none of them at the end.
There's this great moment. I guess you won't see it now, but there's this great moment where you've committed to both of them. Eventually, they figure out, and you get this really good scene where they both like get Geralt into a room, and you're like, "Fuck yes, threesome time!" No! It sets up so nicely, and they chain you to the bed, and it looks like they're all down, and they just fucking leave you there.
Those,
yep, and then you end up with neither.
To be fair, they're well in their right to do.
100%, 100%. But I felt really idiotic at that point. Yes.
Okay, so Megs asks us, he says, since Alessandro mentioned for the Far Cry 5 Season Pass will come with a remaster of Far Cry 3, should I get that instead of playing Far Cry 3 original? I think that should be an easy
As far as I can tell, Megs plays a lot of his stuff on PC, so I don't think you'll see much of a difference there. Like, I think it's more for if you're playing on console, if you want like it upraised on console because it was a last generation game, then yeah. But I think if you're playing on PC, you'll probably find the original for cheaper, and you could just play that. Because I don't see much. I don't think it'll be a much big jump. It's just a simple remaster. It's not a. So I if you're playing on PC, probably not. It also means you don't have to buy Far Cry 5 because not great.
Have you put in?
I played a bit more. Yeah, I got more into the loop of it, of like actually enjoying just fucking around in that world. But man, that story sucks. It's really bad. And then there's these moments where it's like they kidnap you very frequently. They shoot you with bliss bullets, gets you fucking high, and apparently knocks you out. I don't know.
Hang on, they're called bliss bullets.
Bliss. Oh, bliss. Yeah, so bliss is this drug that is used by this cult that makes some enemies superhuman, but apparently when you get shot by them, you get knocked out. Why the fuck everyone else wants to use real bullets to screw you up when the... That story. Just
I really think that there's an opportunity missed there because it's a whole religious cult. They should have called it bless.
They throw Bibles at you or something.
I think let's rush through this. We have to squeeze this in. So one final question. So this is where I started. This is a question from Zoe, which I was at like 15 minutes ago before I got lost in my tweets.
Cool.
She said, so her husband and her are both serious gamers, but they never play games together. Mm-hmm. So do our lady loves, aka our holograms, play games? And are there any titles that we play together co-op?
Okay,
I know you've touched on Mario Kart with Shani.
Yeah, Shani plays a lot of mobile games. She loves her mobile games. A lot of the like match 3 stuff, that's her thing, like 100% her thing. So I've tried to get into some games. We played a bit of Crash Bandicoot over the holiday season, which was quite nice. We've played Mario Kart together, and we've played Overcooked together, which is really fun.
Oh, and Zoe did say besides Overcooked.
But the Switch has helped. Like we've played ARMS together, a lot of stuff on Switch that we've played together. But I've struggled to get her engrossed in something like single player wise. I remember giving her Rayman Legends for some time because she really enjoyed the Rayman Jungle Runs on phone, which are almost the identical games.
Similar.
Really great games on the phone. And she just struggled with the controller. So I think it's a case of I need to leave like a console at her house and just let her get to grips with it in her own time. And then maybe she'll dig it. But she played Yoshi's Woolly World. When I was reviewing it on 3DS, we used to take turns, and she was really enjoying that. Yeah,
that's cool.
And she played a lot of Downwell when I first got into it because it was really easy to get into.
Game,
yeah, and she got really far. She got to like World 3 at one point. Yeah, it's these like pockets of experiences which she's tried, but nothing super like not on the same level as me. Like she won't buy a console for herself. I don't think put it that way.
No, I think Lenska's very much similar, where she'll dabble with games. I mean, Lenska's always been a Sims fan, and she's still dabbles with Sims 3 every now and then in her own time. But more recently, she's gotten into Fortnite. But I think she's fallen out of love with it. Maybe the hype has just passed, or she's just not for her. Yeah.
Didn't she play Tomb Raider as well?
She played a bit of Tomb Raider as well. Yeah, that was quite a while ago. But she never finished them, which is fun.
Okay.
But then like I really I was convinced Stardew Valley was the game that would like suck her in, because I mean it sucked me in, and it sucked like every other person I know in, and she got hooked in it for like an hour.
Oh really?
But not like compelled to go back to it. Not that I've ever seen. Okay. Although in gaming news, Stardew Valley, the multiplayer is coming out soon. I think in a month.
Sweet.
So I wonder if there'll be split screen on a console, or if it is like you have to have two different.
Yeah, versions. I don't know how it's going to work.
So if there's split screen, yes, I'll definitely be like, listen, we need to farm together, because couples who farm together stay together. But yeah, in terms of gaming, like. Yeah, there's nothing. I think it's exactly the same as Shani. She'll play, but it's not like a passion like you and I. We were like, we have to play every day.
She won't go out and get her own PlayStation.
No, very much doubt that. Why would she? I've got a PlayStation.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But I get that. It's the same. When you said split screen Stardew Valley, the first thing that came into my mind was the co-op mode in Viva Pinata for Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Just like, fuck, Microsoft, make another Viva Pinata, please.
Was it good?
What a good game. Oh my god.
Really?
That was like Stardew Valley before Stardew Valley.
Oh really?
God, it was so good. Make one, please, Microsoft. Don't give us fucking Sea of Thieves 2 or something. Just give us Viva Pinata, please.
Just scrap Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, and I think that is it.
Yeah, that was a pretty lengthy podcast to make up for a whole week. We'll be back next week. Hey, can talk more about God of War. Can't talk about Labo because we won't have it yet.
Talk about maybe I'll finish Witcher by then. I doubt it. I mean, Cameron, by the way.
Don't make promises you can't.
I won't make promises, but I think I'm toward the end of the game.
Wait, are you back at Kira Morn?
I'm part.
You're at the part where you think you're at the end of the game.
I know. I think that's the part. I always remember you saying you
got
thought you were at the end.
You got that message saying you can't go back.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, sweet, I'm at the end of the game.
No,
it's like another 8 hours.
But yeah, I've been told by my colleague at work that I'm in the third act, you would call it.
Yeah, I would say the final act, but I wouldn't say
it's close
to the end. No.
Yeah. Well, fine. I'll save it for.
But you're getting to the fucking good stuff now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. But that was episode 6. Hope you all enjoyed. Yeah, we made it. I'm very happy to be back because I kind of missed it last week.
Yeah, no, it was
kind of weird, like opening up our podcast.
I feel like I don't even recognize you. You've changed so much in 2 weeks.
I hope you get better now.
Yes.
And I hope next week we'll go for some running before our traditional podcast.
Yes, get those creative juices flowing.
Yeah, exactly.
These bodies fit.
Exactly. Yeah, Jesus Christ, I need that. But yeah, it's been really fun. Thank you for listening. If you don't already know, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Anchor, which you should be using because that's where it's hosted. And you can add our RSS feed to any podcast app that you have at the moment. It's up on our Twitter page at Checkpoint Chat. Email us on checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your questions. As usual, Matty will be putting up some sultry polls on Twitter.
I need to think of another juicy poll for this week.
Mario or Crash?
Oh man, we all know Crash would win. Am I right? No.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people seem to think Crash is garbage.
It'd have one vote. And that'd be
from
your
me,
vote.
100%. 100%.
Your vote.
Yes.
Yeah, but before we go, don't forget to like and subscribe. But if you do enjoy this content, feel free to leave us a rating, a review, whatever. Because as much as we love talking to you, we want to talk to more people, get more people on this train. We love
especially
talking
on
games.
Stitcher and Google and Apple.
Yeah.
Leave a rating, leave a short review if you want. Just helps us get out there, helps us reach more people, and that would be fab.
Yeah. So we want to spread the Portuguese culture too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gotta throw that flower everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, bye. I'm done. I don't know how do you outro this.
I don't know. I think the flower was a good way. I love you, Matty. Bye.
Bye.